You know, if people have been listening to me 3 years ago when I said about what's happening with gold, and a number of you did, you should be right. You should be sending me candies right now because gold is up something like 79%. It's breaking through that $3,000 bam, and they're predicting it's going to go to $4,000. And listen, I'm just saying that because LanceWallnau.com/gold is still there. I'm doing it myself because I know that there's instability with what's happening, and it's going to continue to be unstable. And by the way, if we know some inside information now about how gold can become part of a transaction, it's going to even become stronger. By the way, today's show is extremely valuable, not just because we're talking about what's happening with the financial markets, but because I'm going to explain to you in the simplest way possible the three verticals Trump is dealing with. Trying to avoid kinetic warfare in the Middle East and in Europe, trying to rein in China and the global economy while dealing with $36 trillion worth of debt, and then trying to figure out what to do with 10 million to 20 million illegals when he can't even get enough support to get gangs out of the country. We got to pray for this man. Welcome to today's show. You're going to love it. And by the way, go to LanceWallnau.com/gold and jump in because every moment this gold is going up. So much of our progress and our momentum seems to have been, being thwarted lately. Do you feel it? I mean, I feel like we need to be praying for this president. And maybe we need to clarify for ourselves. There are three strongholds he's up against. Let me point out what they are for you. So we'll draw a picture here. And let's just assume this man's in a battle up against I'll put three gates up here. These are three powerful gates he's up against. And these gates represent the three columns of attack that he's engaging right now. The first column of attack that he is engaging is to try to avoid World War III. He's having to deal with the kinetic battle that is going on. He's still working on the Middle East. And I don't know how much progress is being blocked right now because he has to make a major decision as to what to do with Iran's nuclear arsenal. To the degree that Tucker Carlson and Don Jr. and the informal circle of family and friends are talking to him about that, there's a lot of pushback on don't go to war with Iran, avoid it at all costs. And then on the other hand, Iran with a nuclear weapon, draw that mushroom cloud like that, they want to drop it on the United States. They would love to detonate. You can't let Iran have nuclear weapon. I mean, that is your end time scenario, isn't it? That's your beast end time tribulation when nuclear weapons proliferate and terrorist groups get to launch them and you devastate millions of lives in a blink. I mean, that's your Armageddon scenario. Let's try not to go there. Don't you agree? So we have the Middle East with Israel and all the surrounding nations, always a tinderbox to be carefully managed. And Trump alone has had the ability to bring the Abraham Accords, to get the Saudis on the same page as him, to be able to neutralize Turkey, to be able to take that unstable Syria now and keep it in balance and keep Egypt in the box, so to speak, and Jordan on his side. It's not easy, but Trump's the guy that can do it. Then we have Ukraine still. Oh, it's not done yet. Ukraine and Russia. No, sir. That situation is still going on. And, of course, what Trump has done is he said, well, we've got a mineral deal. The mineral logic there is if Trump can get land and control that land for business purposes, it creates a no-go zone all along the border with Russia. Russia's not going to go rolling in and taking territory because it's Trump's New York real estate. So the more land that Trump can have mineral rights to, the more the border between Russia is established. Now, it's not, if I had a map here, I'd show you that the land doesn't go all the way that way, but you get the idea psychologically. Trump says, I don't need to give a military, I don't even have to put soldiers there. I just have to have a real estate deal with you. And that'll be a line drawn in the sand. Don't mess with American commerce. So speaking of commerce, we've got the Middle East battle, we've got the Ukraine war, and what is Trump interested in? Stability economically. He wants to stop this nonsense. It's not good for business globally, which is why he's got the debt. We've got a, dare I say, we have a debt crisis. He's working off the tariff situation. He's desperately trying to work out a deal with the globe, but we've got China is a huge factor because China is big enough to be the American competitor. China may be the dominant global superpower that dominates the earth. And America may recede. But if it does so, it'll happen because we've got like $36 trillion worth of stupid debt. Meaning stupid, meaning our people seemingly, when you look at Elon Musk with Doge, he's trying to show where the waste is, and you got people blowing up Teslas because they don't want to hear it. La, 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 la. How stupid can you get? Someone showing you where the hole is in the Titanic, and these people are complaining that you're blocking the influx of water. So we have this radical problem of $36 trillion worth of debt. You've got wars in Europe and in the Middle East, which can trigger into what's called kinetic, blowing things up and shooting each other. We're not there right now, but that's where it could go. Trump is up against the kinetic war threat, Middle East and Europe, Russia. He's got China over here with the world battles to see who's going to be the superpower that determines the future of economics. It could ultimately be China, but if it happens, it's because here's the delicate balance. On the scale, we've got $36 trillion worth of debt, and Trump is trying to bring in trillions of dollars of investment back into the United States. He's getting no help at all. He's constantly being fought because what do we have? I want you to watch this. The third column, which is crushing us, is 10 million illegals under Biden, another 20 million illegals before that. All that Trump is saying is just let me get the 10 million illegals out who came in over the last 4 years because they came in from prisons. They came in from asylums. They came in from gangs. And they came in, Trinidad de Uruguay, or MS-13. And what do you got? You've got judges, radical Marxist judges in the United States that are stopping the agenda, and the Supreme Court is unreliable. They go back and forth like this and that. So the courts, the left can't do it. They can't stop Trump in the government. They can't stop him in the cabinet. They can't stop him in the executive branch. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to utilize the courts. These courts, the $36 trillion worth of debt and the possibility of wars, these are the things this president has to have grace. God's ability. May God grant this president remarkable wisdom and providential influence. May God intervene with Russia and with Iran in the Middle East to destabilize Iran's power, to block them for the next decade so they cannot do what they want to do. May God grant to the United States an extension of grace that we can manage our debt, that the circumstances of our economy will not be crushed. By the way, you need to know something. When you talk about Wall Street, why is my pen dying here? I need new pens, folks.
Wow.
When you got Wall Street, and Wall Street is belly aching like the Wall Street Journal every day, you got to understand something that Trump knows. Out of that whole stock market, let's put this pile of cash here, right? Here's a pile of cash, and it's amazing. It's gone. The Dow went past it. 2,000 was what, at one point, I thought was going to be miraculous. Now it's just blowing through the roof on its way to 4, just boom, moving up higher and higher. So what you've got is the upper 10% of the people in American income own pretty much 90% of the stock market. So what Trump is seeing is this thing's been like Jiffy Pop. Remember Jiffy Pop? You put it in your popcorn in, it keeps getting bigger, 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 bigger. Well, what you got here is You've got the Jiffy Pop has been blowing up, blowing up, blowing up. That 10%, the upper 10%, owns something like 70 or 80% of the stock market is owned by the upper 10%. And they've just had their wealth grow, 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 grow. And Trump says, I don't mind bringing that down a little bit because you know where it's going to go? It's going to go to the middle class. If the wealth, I'm willing to put the squeeze on the cheese here with the Jiffy Pop, with this bloated market, in order to redistribute some of that wealth to create jobs and wages. Because while these cats here in the stock market had like around 120% growth over the last decade in stocks, these people here in real wages lost money or stayed static. They didn't go. These guys made money. These people didn't. Trump is the best president we've ever had for the working class. But let's come back to this again. We're dealing with kinetic warfare. We're dealing with the managing the national debt and the tariffs and the budget of the United States government, which is $2 trillion overexpensed every year. And Doge, for all we say about Elon Musk, hasn't cut one program. It's exposed bad money. It hasn't cut one of the programs yet that feeds into that $2 trillion. And nobody really has the courage to go there because we're heading into midterms. And what the left is doing is they're throwing their judges in to say, if we'll fight the battle on the MS-13 gangs, if we can fight on that line, forget the 10 million. These are going to be new Democrat voters. We'll just hold you off till midterms. Then we're going to come back and clobber you, take back the gavel, impeach you for overreach of power, and then try it again with the next presidential election. Maybe AOC and Bernie or Gavin and AOC. We'll find our dream team, but we're going to stop you. America cannot afford to have Trump fail on these three verticals. He's doing a balancing act with China and the global economy, with wars from Russia to the Middle East, with Iran, and fighting the deep state that is entrenched in Washington, D.C. It's going to take supernatural effort and probably another 6 to 8 years to move the D.C. establishment out of D.C. so that it could become a level American playing field. All right, Mercedes, that's my summary of the three things we got to look at.
Very concise, Lance. I think, you have a real gift for taking complicated things and making them simple and easy to understand. Jiffy Pop and all. So it was excellent. I think, too, he's not going to do it alone. And I think this is why his team is so critical, too. I mean, he is like the true north. And you see him trying to take out like Pete Hegseth and others. And it really upsets me because it takes, it takes an amazing team to pull off something monumental like that.
Well, they are going after, and I don't know about Pete because I don't know how threatened he is, but the deep state. Remember, he's taken the transgender out of the military. Who the heck wants transgender in the military? There's a bunch of people that do. There's so many Democrat deep state, and the money that is spent there in the Department of Defense, they've got to pare it down. I mean, until you start to squeeze a little bit of that, there's no fiscal oxygen left for us to keep on spending. I can't say that enough. I'm worried about it because gold right now has gone up to I'm shocked. It's on its way to 38 from 2,500. It's on its way through 3,000. It's going to hit 4,000. So I saw a picture of Pope Francis and Barack Obama. I couldn't help but wonder who's going to be the next pope, and will they be part of that apocalyptic personality in the book of Revelation that brings a one-world church to back up a one-world ruler? We'll talk about it when we come back.
We're entering a period of time that has increased hostility against people of faith. It's a time when Christians are going to be tested on a moral, physical, psychological, and even a financial basis. I'm here to remind you that God is the one who has blessed you thus far, and He will take care of you in the future. You have a divine responsibility, however, to see trouble and prepare yourself. For example, with record inflation eating away at the value of the U.S. dollar, the savings in your retirement account is in danger of slipping away. I recommend diversifying your 401k or IRA out of paper assets and into physical gold. And the best way to do that is with a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. And that includes no penalties, there's no taxes when you transfer current retirement funds into Birch Gold. To see how it works, I want you to go to lancewallnau.com/Birch and get your free info kit, and you'll be glad that you did.
All right, look, I don't want to do a weird segment here, but I was looking at Newsmax. I didn't bring my magazine here. I got 2 subscriptions. Someone in my office has got to help me. I need to cancel one of them, but I got 2 subscriptions to Newsmax, and I'm reading the article on who's the next pope, and I swear it was shocking to me because there's like 6 white dudes. Africa has a large Catholic population. In fact, one of the most conservative of the traditional kind of Catholic guys that's against the LGBTQ and all the other stuff that France is doing is play video 11. I haven't seen it yet, but it looks like the African cardinals from Ghana and Guinea are among the contenders. I wish they were, but they weren't in the top 5 in Newsmax. Watch this.
Historically, we are told there were popes that were black, but that was maybe in the early centuries of the church. But in modern times, there hasn't been any black pope. And who says a black person cannot be a pope? An African can be pope. We have some cardinals who are Africans. But what we are praying for is not for an African pope, a black pope, an American pope, an Asian pope. No, we're praying for a good and holy pope.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And I'm shocked to see that he's not in. These guys aren't in the top 5. They aren't in the top 5. I'll tell you who's in the top 5. I've got them right here. Who are the popular ones? There's Cardinal Pietro Parolin. He's a diplomat with extensive experience in the Vatican governance. Okay, so this guy's like, he's the guy that brokered some weird deal with China. Now, I'm going to give you the equivalent of drunk history version of papal politics because I haven't been covering the Pope that long, that extensively. I mean, once I realized the guy was Marxist, I lost my affection. For a while, all of my friends were gaga. I mean, they were like, ooh, the Pope, he's a cool guy. But then when he came to the United States and they had the big, and everybody was all excited, and Biden and Obama and Pelosi are stumbling over each other. They were at a Beatles, concert in the 60s. And the guy never preached the gospel.
Yeah.
He didn't mention Jesus. He's talking about the climate and the immigration and the poor. And not that I don't care about those things, but I mean, my gosh, you got the whole world. I said, this ain't no Billy Graham, I'll tell you that. Cardinal Pietro Parolin, he's the statesman. He's Italian. I guess an Italian pope. He's 70 though, so who knows? But I'm saying he brokered the China deal. I'm not so impressed with that.
I'm just wondering if you're pronouncing the names right.
I don't know, but it sounds Italian.
We should have given you phonetic.
I'm saying it sounds like I know what I'm talking about.
Yes, you do.
Cardinal Luis Antonio from the Philippines. Oh no, it's Tagle. Luis Antonio Tagle. What the heck is the Tagle on the end? All of it, Luis Antonio. Isn't that kind of like, you don't think Philippines when you hear that? Tagle. He's the prefect of the dicastery for evangelization. Why he's popular? He's known for his charisma, his pastoral approach, and his alignment with progressive Democrat values that Francis had. He's the Asian Francis. No, that's all we need. More of that nonsense. Okay, we don't want those policies continued. Agreed? How about Cardinal Matteo Zuppi? I'm telling you, Zuppi is the scoopy. I think he's going to be a big contender.
Is he?
I do. You know why? He's smiling. He's a smiling guy. Yeah. And smiling goes a long way these days, folks, for telegenic personalities. He's known for peace and charity works, but his Italian roots and moderate stance make him a bridge between France's reforms and traditional church values. But he's He's got a sweet spot for all the LGBTQ rainbow compromises that Francis brought with him.
Is there one that believes the Bible in there?
I'm going to keep going. I'm going to find him here. I'm going to find the Pope and the pizza. We don't want Francis's policies continued, I continue to say. How about, hey, here's a good guy. Maybe. But then again, Amy Coney Barrett, I was excited about her for a while. Now she's really been a little bit of a... All right, here we go. Cardinal Peter Erdo, Hungary. I like that, Hungary, because Viktor Orban's from Hungary. And maybe they know each other. Archbishop Peter Erdo. He's a Budapest former president of the Council of European Bishops. He's a conservative canon lawyer, a strong reputation for sticking to traditional doctrine. He's seen as a counterbalance to Francis's reforms, appealing to cardinals seeking to return to orthodoxy. His Eastern European background echoes Pope John Paul II's legacy. You like Pope John Paul?
Well, we wrote about him in our book.
We did write about him. Yes, we did. We liked this guy. So we're not anti-pope. There's some popes we were really pretty pleased with. That's a better choice. So we want to pray for this guy. I believe that'd be good. The Hungary guy. Remember, he's from Hungary. And that's Cardinal Peter Erdo. Hey, there's one guy from the United States running.
Really?
I don't know how they run. It's like the Academy Awards. They call your agent or something.
I don't know if it was
There's one guy,
that way.
Minneapolis, I
They're
think.
probably nominated.
They're nominated. Yeah, he didn't have a lot of... The people that don't usually go with the Americans. All right, so there's... Here's Cardinal Fridolin Ambonjo Basunga.
Sure.
Hey, Democrat, Republic of the Congo. Best choice. Tell you what, I want to see him elect a black pope. This is the one. Archbishop of Kinshasa.
He's young, too.
President of the Symposium of Episcopal Conferences of Africa and Madagascar. Mbonjo has emerged as a powerful voice from Africa, a region with a rapidly growing Catholic population. His conservative stance, especially his resistance to the same-sex couples thing that Francis was pulling off, won him some big support, but made a lot of enemies. He's pushing back, folks, on the progressive doctrines. Although he will have some social justice, undertones, but yeah, that's okay. He's a unique figure. That's my best choice is the cardinal. The next guy is the Hungary guy. Now, other frequently mentioned names include Cardinal Mario Gretsch from Malta. He's 67. He's a moderate. And then Cardinal Raymond Leo Burke, who's 76, are traditionalists. Keep in mind the popularity is the key. The next pope will depend on the priorities of the 138. Who's going to vote for this? 138 eligible voting cardinals. 138 eligible voting cardinals. Hey, did you see that movie? I saw that movie. It was kind of weird. The last one, what'd they call it, about picking the next pope? It's a movie out. And The Conclave. Thank you there in the studio. The producer was keeping me clear. And it was kind of a weird ending. I think they have spoiler alert, like they have a transgender pope or somebody at the end. They're not quite sure who they voted on. But the point is that this is what you got going on. You got the conclave. And it's a political thing.
Can I ask you a question? Why does it matter? Because the last time you talked about the Pope, there were a lot of comments in here saying, Lance, why do we care who the Pope is? We're all Protestants. Why does it matter? So according to you, Lance, why is it relevant? I mean,
all right, look, people,
there's a lot of practical reasons, but what were your
because we're looking for the false prophet and the Antichrist. We're Pentecostals. Any day now, that false prophet. I remember when poor Gorbachev. I mean, I remember my dumb crowd was saying, "Hey, man, he's got that mark on his forehead. That could be the mark of the beast." It was a birthmark. I look back on it, so stupid now. But anyway, here's the deal. Yeah, there's a false prophet in the book of Revelation who works with this political figure. Now, Trump is like hated and despised. Can you imagine if you had all the media and all of academia and all the cool rock groups, all behind some world ruler who was maybe, some guy from the UK whose mother was American, and he was like, Muslim, but was down on all of the terrorism and embraced Jews. And I'm telling you, this Antichrist, when he shows up, he's going to be the bee's knees. And then you got some world ruler, some really cool hip-hop, pope there, who's everybody loves him, and he's such a nice guy, and then he starts saying this man is the ruler now, and then suppose you have some terrible, I'm going to just tell you how it goes, some nuclear incident with some millions of people devastated and dead. People are shocked like 9/11 on steroids, 10 times worse, 100 times worse, and everybody's freaking out, and someone comes along and declares world peace and puts together a conference, and all these weapons are grounded up to powder, and he becomes heralded as the new supreme peace bringer. Well, who's going to be the number one religious figure? Protestants, unfortunately, can never work with enough unity to have a single voice. Man, they can't agree on Franklin Graham, and they're running off the borrowed, legacy of Billy Graham. So everybody's, but the Catholic Church, because of its hierarchical nature historically, has preserved its power structure so that there's one supreme individual at the top of a pyramid of 138 cardinals, and then lower bishops and prefects and priests, etc. So, they've survived 2,000 years or 1,800 years of history here and become a world power. So you're never going to have the political, religious power for the Christian community represented by anybody with more influence and media reach than the Pope, whether they're a Christian, saved or not. They hold the office that represents that consolidation of power. So, and because the Bible talks about the false prophet and the beast, I had somebody write to me this week, Lance, you're so stupid. The word Antichrist isn't even used once in the book of Revelation. All right, the word Antichrist isn't used. The word beast is, but the Antichrist as a person, as an individual that I'm describing right now, as a global, political ruler. That person is described variously by various terminology, and it all consolidates with one title called the Antichrist. But so I'm interested. I don't see any of these candidates being that charismatic individual. That makes me nervous, though.
Well, I always wonder what that window is too, because I think of it that way too. Of like, okay, is this going to be the Antichrist? But you wonder, like, I mean, as I've been growing up, since Left Behind series was popular, right? It's like it's the next pope. It's the next pope, and so I've now at like 40 years of next pope. So I don't know. What's
well,
next.
yeah, but you guys see this, the memes running around now? I guess you all have. J.D. Vance, did he really visit the Pope 10 hours before he expired?
He did. We have video of it.
I got the videos of J.D. Vance. We're going to play it for you, but I'm going to play it for you tomorrow because I don't want to rush it right now. Looking forward to seeing you. We got a lot to talk about. We'll be back again.
Clean, safe water. It's the foundation of a healthy home. But hidden contaminants could be putting your family at risk. That's why there's Sentry H2O, the smarter way to protect what matters most. It filters out what doesn't belong and restores what your body needs. Pure, mineral-rich water that tastes as fresh as it is clean. Because your family deserves more than just clean. They deserve water that supports their health. Go to lancewallnau.com/water and use code LANCE to save 10% on your water wellness system. That's lancewallnau.com/water, code LANCE.
Did you enjoy this latest episode? Please remember to share it with your friends, because the more knowledge you have, the better equipped you are to navigate the world.